What's up, guys? Welcome to Promotech. Thanks for tuning in. The Galaxy S27 Ultra may look like Samsung simply changed the camera design, but underneath that decision are several quieter changes that could reshape the Ultra identity, accessory strategy, and even Samsung's future flagship lineup. And some of those changes may matter far more than the design itself. Let's dive right into the video, because the camera layout is only the surface-level story. The bigger story is why Samsung appears to be moving away from the visual language that made the Ultra instantly recognizable in the first place. For years, Samsung had something incredibly valuable with the Ultra. You could spot a Galaxy Ultra from across a room because those individual camera rings became part of the identity. They weren't just functional circles around lenses. They were almost a logo without actually being a logo. The S24 Ultra had it. The S25 Ultra refined it. Even the S26 Ultra, despite moving toward a more unified camera area, still looked unmistakably like a Galaxy. Now the S27 Ultra appears to be heading toward a much larger horizontal camera island, and that immediately changes the personality of the phone. On one side, you have Samsung's older approach, separate lenses, strong visual separation, and a design language that screams Galaxy. On the other, you have this newer approach, one dominant camera structure that visually connects everything together. And here's where it gets interesting. Samsung doesn't need to make a phone ugly to lose its identity. It only needs to make it familiar enough to remind people of something else. That's exactly why this design is creating so much discussion. The moment you see the horizontal camera treatment, comparisons to the iPhone 17 Pro and several Chinese flagship phones become almost unavoidable. Honor has already experimented with a similar visual direction, and Samsung entering the same design territory could make the Ultra feel less distinctive even if the actual hardware underneath is significantly better. But there may be a reason Samsung is willing to take that risk. Remember the canceled Galaxy S26 Edge? That phone was reportedly expected to use a very similar camera design before the project was scrapped. If that information is accurate, Samsung may not have suddenly invented this design specifically for the S27 Ultra. It may have been part of a broader design direction that Samsung had already developed internally. And when a company spends months designing a camera structure, testing manufacturing methods, working with suppliers, creating cases, and preparing production tooling, abandoning the entire design isn't as simple as throwing away a render. Samsung could potentially be taking an existing design language and moving it into the Ultra lineup instead. That would explain something else I find fascinating. The possibility that Samsung is creating more visual separation between the Ultra and the other S27 models. If the Ultra and S27 Pro use this horizontal camera approach while the regular S27 and S27 Plus retain a different design, Samsung could be experimenting with a new hierarchy. The Ultra isn't necessarily becoming more recognizable because it looks completely different. Instead, Samsung could be saying that the Ultra belongs to an entirely different product family. And that could have consequences beyond appearance. Think about cases. Think about camera protectors. Think about wireless charging accessories. Think about how accessory companies design products months before consumers even hold the phone. A major camera redesign forces the entire accessory ecosystem to adapt. This is also where that MagSafe style ring becomes interesting. Seeing a circular ring inside a case render does not automatically mean the S27 Ultra itself has built-in magnets. We've already seen similar visual representations used around Samsung phones where the magnets were actually integrated into the case rather than the phone. That distinction matters because Samsung has a bigger decision to make here. Does it fully embrace a magnetic accessory ecosystem at the hardware level, or does it continue relying on cases to provide that functionality? Apple built an entire accessory ecosystem around magnets. Samsung has been moving closer to that world, but there's a difference between supporting magnetic accessories and making magnets a fundamental part of the phone. If Samsung does eventually make that shift more aggressively, the S27 generation could become another step toward turning Galaxy accessories into a much larger ecosystem rather than simply selling phones and cases separately. And that brings us to the part Samsung probably cares about more than any argument over whether the camera island looks good. The Ultra is becoming an ecosystem product. The phone itself is only one piece. There's the case, the watch, the earbuds, wireless chargers, styluses, cloud services, AI features, and whatever comes next. Every physical redesign creates an opportunity to reshape how those products interact with each other. So while people are arguing about whether the camera island looks like an iPhone, Samsung may be thinking several steps ahead. But there is another quiet change that could be even more important: the psychology of the Ultra. Samsung has spent years training customers to understand the Ultra as the no-compromise Galaxy. bigger camera system, more premium materials, S Pen, more advanced display technology, more powerful processing, and, importantly, a very recognizable physical identity. If Samsung changes that identity too aggressively, it risks weakening one of the strongest reasons loyal customers can instantly justify paying more for the Ultra. Because at this price level, you're not just buying specifications. You're buying status, familiarity, and recognition. That's why I think the S27 Ultra design debate is bigger than people realize. A regular Galaxy can afford to look generic because most people aren't choosing it based on visual identity. But the Ultra is Samsung's statement phone. It's the device that is supposed to communicate, this is the top Galaxy. So if Samsung's flagship starts visually blending into the broader smartphone market, Samsung may gain manufacturing flexibility or a fresher appearance while losing something that took years to build. And this is where I want to pause for a second, because if you spend a lot of time watching tech content, you already know how easy it is to get buried under leaks, renders, rumors, and endless comparison videos. That's actually why I've been using Wolver as a simple way to keep useful information organized without constantly jumping between different sources. Instead of treating every new leak like it's equally important, you can focus on the details that actually connect to the bigger story. Because that's what we're doing here. We're not just looking at a camera island. We're trying to understand what Samsung's decisions are telling us. And there's another possibility that makes this whole thing even more interesting. Samsung could be testing how much customers actually care about design identity. Companies constantly run these experiments. They change a familiar element, watch the reaction, analyze sales, study social media sentiment, and then decide whether the new direction becomes permanent. The S27 Ultra could be one of those experiments. If people love it, Samsung gets permission to push the design language further. If people hate it, Samsung can always refine the next generation. But the important thing is that Samsung learns exactly where its loyal customers draw the line. And honestly, that's why your opinion matters here. Because I've seen people complain about Samsung making phones look too similar year after year. And now we're potentially getting the opposite problem. Samsung is finally making a noticeable change, but some people think the change makes the phone look less like a Galaxy. That's a fascinating contradiction. We want companies to innovate, but we also want them to preserve the things that make their products recognizable. And Samsung has to balance both. By the way, if you've been watching these deep dive videos and you're part of the roughly 70% of viewers who aren't subscribed yet, consider joining us. Not because I need another number on the screen, but because this channel is really becoming a community for people who actually care about the small details behind these devices. The people who notice the design decisions, the software changes, the business strategy, and the stuff manufacturers don't always explain. And there may be one more reason the S27 Ultra is taking this direction. Samsung's flagship lineup is becoming more complicated. We've already seen the company experiment with edge models, different form factors, foldables, and increasingly different positioning between devices. If Samsung eventually wants several premium Galaxy products occupying different price points, each phone needs a stronger visual identity. The Ultra might be moving toward a design that immediately communicates highest tier, while the Pro or Edge models occupy another space. That would make the S27 Ultra more than just the biggest S27. It would become the visual anchor for Samsung's premium lineup. And if that happens, this camera design could eventually spread to other Galaxy devices. That's the uncomfortable part. The S27 Ultra might not be the end of this experiment. It could be the beginning. Samsung could be laying the foundation for a completely different Galaxy design language over the next few years. One that moves away from the isolated camera rings we've become accustomed to and toward larger integrated structures. Maybe that will look incredible in person. Maybe the renders simply aren't capturing the proportions correctly. Maybe Samsung has some hardware advantage hidden behind that larger camera structure that makes the entire redesign worthwhile. But if the final phone looks anything like these early images, Samsung isn't simply changing where the cameras sit. It's changing what a Galaxy Ultra looks like. And that's a much bigger decision than swapping one camera island for another. Because once you change a product's identity, you can't completely undo that decision with a software update. So now I'm curious what happens when Samsung actually puts this phone in people's hands. Does the new design finally make the Ultra feel fresh again? Or does it cross that invisible line where innovation starts looking like imitation? And if Samsung is willing to sacrifice one of its most recognizable design elements for this new direction, what does that tell us about the Galaxy phones coming after the S27 Ultra? That's the part I'm watching most closely. Take care and stay safe. I'll see you in the next one soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.